Come on, everybody else.
There we
go.
There
we go. What's
hey.
up?
How's it going?
Oh, you know.
Yes.
I'm demolishing my kitchen right now for a whole entire remodel. So,
oh, dang.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
I bet. And you groomed today too, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Where's everyone else?
I'm waiting for them to get on here. Yeah.
Did you groom? You groomed today?
Yeah, I did I did 4 dogs today.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. There's another person. There we go. All right. Make sure y'all turn your video on so we can see. Alexa, pause.
Oh, okay. Okay, is that good?
Yeah.
There you are.
All right.
There we go. I'm going to change this up a little bit. Let's see. How do we...
I was like having a conversation with my fiance. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go.
Yeah, share the live. Share it.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, guys.
What's up, everyone? We got one more. She's kind of under the weather, so. Okay, I think everyone can see So can y'all see my comments or what? I don't know if everybody can see. Are we all seeing the same comments?
I'm seeing Angelina Milantois Tatam is what's coming on my end. I see comments, but I don't know if they're yours or mine.
Yeah, they're on my side too.
Yeah, I think they're all the same.
Okay. Cool beans. Cool. Where is Miss I like dogs more than you? She's probably still snoozing. I'm just kidding.
She's going to wait till the top of the hour to get in here.
Yeah. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Look at that. We got the full panel here. That's what I'm talking about. Ignore my messy room. My wife is going to kill me if she knows that. Shows y'all that.
I'm sorry, I was coughing.
You're here. That's all that matters.
I'm here. I'm just going to take my cough drop. We're good.
You know what works better than a cough drop? A little bit of alcohol.
I was going to say some brandy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So if y'all are new here, you're new to watching, be sure to share this live and tell your friends about it right now. We got a couple more minutes before we get started. And so everybody can, be here. So share it. Actually, I need to go ahead and share it right now. Hold on. I'm going to share it. I'm gonna download this right after we get done. That way I can go ahead and upload it to Facebook. So
awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's see. What's up? Amy the Groomer. I watch you all the time. Hello. What's up? Jordan Murphy, she is in Oklahoma. Let's see. Anyone else hear that woman advertise?
I can't.
What woman?
My video where I changed the voice on it to sound like a girl. I was just playing around.
I remember that. You confused me on that one. I'm like, is he on helium?
Hey, I did it to get everyone's attention, so that works. Thank you. Hey, and also, y'all that are new here, I'm telling you, just make sure you follow all of us. I know some of y'all are just following me or just following, the other ladies, but be sure to follow everyone. What's up? Okay, so Marcia, right?
Yeah.
How did you mute that?
I don't know what I'm doing. Does anybody else have that little follow me bubble in their screen?
I think it's just where you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
It shifts on the things.
Okay,
Because
at the
that's-
bottom of my screen, there's a mic. I can click it on and off for muting.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I have a mic that I can click on and off.
Y'all must have iPhones.
Yeah.
Mine's an Android, by the way.
Okay. I have an Android too. I don't see no microphone.
Tap your picture.
It's on the bottom of the whole. But you're the host though, right?
Yeah,
so maybe that's why.
Oh, so they gotta hear
Hi,
me doing
Haley.
everything. I was trying to wait till a lot more people got on here. I don't know where everyone's at right now. Yeah, apparently hosts can't mute.
Oh.
Just get started.
Yeah.
People will join the more active we are.
Yep.
True.
Okay, well, all 60 of y'all that are here, welcome to our first ever Home Based Groomer podcast. Woohoo!
Hey.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be exciting. There were so many just 5 minutes ago. Yes, share it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through intros. That's my girl, Lavina. What's up? That's what I'm talking about. We got our moderators in our group, so they'll help knock everything out. But we're going to go through our intros. This entire podcast, is this considered a podcast? I guess. I kind of want it to be.
Video. We're going to be new.
Yeah, it's a
a
live podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a live video podcast.
A groom pod.
So
That's another one.
This podcast is about why home-based grooming. A lot of groomers, maybe they might be working at a salon or a mobile or corporate or whatever, and they see all of us do this home-based grooming stuff, and they just, want to know why. Like, why do we do this? So, that's what this entire thing is about. So, my name is Frazel, the Dental Groomer, right here in Midwest City, Oklahoma. And a little bit about me. I've been grooming for 13 years. I started at PetSmart. I forgot to set my timer, but whatever. I started at PetSmart 13 years ago. And they taught me all the basics. They taught me everything that I needed to know to grow from there. And then, I was at PetSmart for about 5 years. And then I left, went to a vet clinic. I completely revamped the entire grooming program, which is freaking awesome. Thank you. And it was pretty exciting. But then I got a little bit of burnt out, which I'll talk about that a little bit later. And PetSmart Groomers Unite. Yeah, and so I went to a different field where I was selling an MLM product. I don't really want to say the name, but I was doing pretty good with that. But then COVID hit. It hit really, really hard. And my business just hit a brick wall. And I was just burnt out with that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is dog grooming. But this time, I decided to do it differently. I decided to do it my way, which is why I'm now a home-based groomer, and I do it my way. And I'm loving it. I absolutely love it. So that was my little spill. I don't want to take up too much time. Kind of want to pass it off to the next one. Passing the mic to whoever wants to get it.
Well, do you want to so maybe Quincy can go next?
Okay, go Quincy.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. My name is Quincy. I'm a groomer based out in Utah. I've been grooming for about 15 and a half years. I started at Petco, and mine would be the same. I got a lot of great information there to get me to where I am today. Base stuff. I managed for them, and then I happen to have a little girl, so I kind of took a jump ship and went in home for me. And so I've been in home for about 10 years now, and it's been amazing for me. The road that led me to even getting into grooming was like a fluke. My dad said, just go work at this store that opened. I didn't even know grooming was a thing. I worked there and trained with someone who was actually really great and cared about what her groomers learned and made sure we learned the proper things. And so that was great. And I've turned it into where I can be with my kids and groom and support my family, but I'm also able to go and do other things inside our industry. I go and travel and work for one of our trade show companies. Throughout the year, I get to see amazing people. Like I get to see Lynn a couple of times a year, even though we live opposite sides of, the states. But I absolutely love what I do, and I don't see me stopping anytime soon. So I'm excited. You guys are all here to learn a little bit about home grooming. Yeah. Nice and simple.
I guess you're next. How do you pronounce your name?
I was gonna try.
My name is Moraima Tinajero. You can say Moraima.
Moraima.
Yeah, Moraima. Okay. Yes. You can call me Mo. Okay. Everybody stops at Mo. So I'm like, Mo it is.
I was going to have to try and put that roll on the R, but I didn't want to embarrass myself. So we'll go with Mo.
Well, my name is Moraima Tinajero, and I'm actually 47 years old. I guess I'm the one that has the least experience in dog grooming here, but my experience with animals was based back when I was a veterinary technician, and I was a veterinary technician for 15 years. I had an illness that came across in my life that actually removed everything from my life, so I had to basically reinvent myself. I wanted to continue being able to work with the animals, and I didn't know what I could do. But then my mom was battling metastatic breast cancer, and I became her caregiver. But that doesn't pay very much either. So I had to do something. I had to do something to help my mom. I had to do something to help myself. So she, Lord and behold, had 12 dogs.
Wow.
She had 12 dogs, and I needed to be able to help her because she sent her dogs to the local groomer in our hometown, and they came back with their ears, their little miniature white poodles. They came back with their ears all cut up, bleeding everywhere with ticks. And from that point on, I told her, I will learn how to groom to be able to help you with the dogs so you don't have to worry about them, so she can have a restful treatment and, go through everything that she needed to go through. So that became my purpose. It gave me an opportunity to educate people, and that's been a passion of mine, to be able to talk to people about how to be able to help their pets, at home. So that's how I got introduced into grooming, and I've been grooming for about 6 years, like I mentioned, and also, I guess what I like best about it is that I can make my own hours. I choose the pets that can come in through my door. I do this part-time, but I want to increase it more. It's kind of like I'm in a rural area, so location is not very it's kind of difficult, but word of mouth through the veterinary office is getting very far, so I'm very happy with that. And I can, work with them as well as to what their protocols are and what have you. So that gives me an opportunity to still have the foot in the door in the vet office and be able to help my current clients. Also, I guess what I don't like about it is, well, if you can't work because if you're sick or something, who else is going to bring the money in? So that's the downside that I see in it. And of course, those clients that insist on having a high maintenance dog and don't do the necessary work and maintenance at home. And they want you to strike that little wand, make them poofy and pretty again. So that's basically the one that I don't like, but, and I educate them on how to, maintain the coat. I even show them the products that I get. I'm like, if you want, I can order you some. Crickets. Crickets. But
I missed it. So are you basically self-taught?
Yes, I am self-taught.
So we have a corporate groomer, a self-taught groomer. So who's next?
I'll go next.
All right.
first got into grooming, I was working, well, not really working, but I was volunteering with a small dog rescue, and we would transport the dogs from, like all the way down south up to the Northeast. And I kept hearing other people talking about that they would take these dogs to the groomer. And when I was growing up, our animals never went to the groomer. They would they just didn't go anywhere. So I was like, dog grooming, I wonder how you kind of get into something like that. And I Googled it, and there was a local mobile groomer franchise that was hiring, and they said, no experience necessary, we'll train you. So I worked with them for a few years, and then that's when I went to dog grooming school down in Georgia. And I've been grooming for just shy of 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
It happens fast, doesn't it?
It kind of caught up to me. Yeah. But I got my certified feline master groomer in 2011, and then started working for the National Cat Groomers in 2012. And I have been a certifier and instructor for them since then. And now I own a home-based cat-only business in New Jersey, out of my home, and I love it. And I just do all cats all the time, and it's the best thing I ever did.
So
which also really good timing, because I got out right before doodles got really, really big. And so I missed a lot. I still had some, but I was right petering at the end. And let me tell you, there's not a lot of doodles in cat grooming, and they're all little. So it's been amazing. And I love it.
How did you get to cat grooming?
How did I get? So I went.
What made you want to just do cats?
So it was funny enough. I was at a grooming show. The Hershey Groom Expo in Hershey, Pennsylvania is every year in September. And I went there, and there was an all-day cat grooming class by the head of National Cat Groomers Institute. And I wasn't interested in the other classes that were going on at the same time, because I was working for the mobile groomer, and it was a lot of business stuff. And I was like, well, I don't need to know that because I'm just the groomer. And I went through this all-day class, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I need to do. I always considered myself more of a cat person. And I would see in dog grooming how great the dogs' transformations would be, and how happy they were being clean and well maintained. And I tried a little bit here and there to learn more about cats. And I just noticed nobody was really bathing them. You weren't seeing that same benefit that these dogs were getting, that cats were getting. So I knew I had to learn more, and that's what I really did. And once I started really diving in and going cat only, it was just everything just got so much better, because I was in a very clear mindset. I don't even like to groom dogs on the same day, when I still did both. And so I just found that it's really for me, and luckily I happen to be pretty good at it. So it worked out.
Well, here's the good thing about that is that everything you have really can just be small tub, small table. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about getting giant cats and small cat. That's right. Actually kind of cool.
I have some big cats. I want to say my biggest was 27 pounds. Big, and surprisingly not a Maine Coon, but it was kind of a large, heavy set domestic short hair. But yeah, it's nice. I have a smaller tub. I need way less products. I don't need so many blades and brushes and things like that. So it's really nice that I can specifically make my whole salon be just for cats. And I think they respond well also. So,
well, you gotta be honest with me though. You gotta be honest with me. Every morning you wake up to go groom a cat, don't you have to say a little prayer?
There are some cats that I gotta psych myself up for. And I joke that I have a couple on my books that, one of these days they're gonna get me. But the vast majority of my clients now are on very well-maintained schedules. So I've kind of limited most of that. But when you first open a cat-only business, I joke that you build your reputation on the rejects. And there's nothing wrong with the cats. It's just that other groomers don't want to do them, or they've never been groomed before. So you kind of have to build that initial part of your business by doing the cats that nobody else wants, which can be very difficult, and it can be stressful. So I try to limit how many elderly, severely matted cats like that I get, at least so I'm not doing them all on the same day, back to back, because it can be very draining. But I started my business in 2019. And I've stopped taking clients for almost 2 years now. So it's been great just being cat exclusive.
Well, I'm gonna make sure I send all the cats to you because I ain't touching it.
Yeah, we really appreciate you cat groomers. I got a cat girl down the street. I love her. I send her all the cats because I know there's not enough antibiotics in the world to make me want to groom cats.
I've had my share of cats being a vet tech.
Hey, so speaking of which, Marcia, the woman that like you created these hilarious videos.
Yes.
I've seen your videos like a little over a year ago, where you were imitating different dog breeds that come in the salon. Yeah. And ever since then, I was, that's when I started following. So let's hear about your story.
That was during COVID. I was so bored. Like, we're dog groomers, right? And cat groomers. When you take like a week off of work and you're like jonesing to go back to work, it's ridiculous. So I was so bored over COVID. I was like, I got to do something. So I came in here and made some silly videos, and I'm glad everybody got some entertainment out of them.
Yeah.
I am the only Canadian groomer here, except for Amy in the comments. I've been grooming for 15 years, and like the rest of us, I started at a Big P pet store, and I don't recommend doing this, but I lied to get the job there. I told them I was like the best groomer in the world, and I knew all these breed clips, and like I'd never even been to a dog show. I didn't know what half the breeds of dogs were, but I really wanted to be a dog groomer, and I just didn't know how else to get a job. So, and my first day I walked in and I looked at the girls and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, can you help me? And they were amazing. So the girls I worked with taught me for a bit. And then I kind of struggled around from job to job to job until a really amazing groomer took me on and taught me and kind of like got me into competing and took me to seminars and did all that stuff. So I got pretty lucky with where I ended up. I've owned 2 storefronts. I sold them both. I will never go back to having a storefront again. I'm a home-based groomer now, and I just really enjoy it. And I'm really excited to be here. So thank you so much for including me in this.
Well, I'm just grateful for everyone to just be here. So the view count is a little bit lower than what I was hoping, but it's okay. It's okay because when I'm gonna repost this on Facebook and stuff, it should blow up. But if y'all are still here, I mean, obviously y'all are still watching. Be sure to share this live so we get some more people in here because we're about to start our topics. Okay, so
how do we share the live?
I don't know. I think it's just a share button. On my screen, it's at the bottom. It's just a share button.
All the way down. That little arrow.
Yeah, and I just shared it on Facebook on mine. So they said that is jumping. Is it okay, never mind.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I feel like I need one of those like cool backgrounds where it's like cat groomer, like so people when they see the live.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking that too, but my wife was like, "You better not show our dirty house." So she was like, "You better put it right in plain gray." look like a prison photo. Just
you can use this one wall. That's it.
I was gonna say, I was like, Marcy, I really like your fabulous wall behind you.
Thank you. This is the only part of my house that's decorated. This section.
I love it.
That's it. And it's just glitter tape from the dollar store.
That's hilarious.
I love me a good.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get to our first question, which is, what was it again? I forgot.
Why you chose home based?
Why did you home over the line?
Why?
All typed out.
You overachiever. Oh, you overachiever too.
Mine notes too.
I got a dry erase board. Y'all are.
It's good.
I got it written on my hand.
You're prepared.
Look, that's women versus men. I'm so disorganized, and here y'all are typing stuff up.
My husband's cracking up when you say that.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Why did I choose home-based grooming over a salon or mobile or whatever? So, like I said, I've been grooming for 13 years, and over the years, I've listened, and this is very important. I listened to clients a lot. When I worked at PetSmart, I heard clients complain, And all the complaints, see, that's the thing about business. Like, when people complain, you can either cry about it or do something to fix it. And so I did something to fix it. The complaints that I used to hear was one, that the dogs are barking all the time. The dogs are locked in kennels all day long, barking, stressing dogs out. Customers can't watch their dogs. They can't see them. They hate it nickel and diming. You know, when you're at corporate, the only way to get paid really is by upselling. You know, do you want conditioner, which should be included, in my opinion? That's $5 extra. Do you want this? That's $5. That's $10. People for a $40 groom, they ended up paying. You know, they didn't like that. So it's not the price that they didn't like. They just didn't like the nickel and diming. So I listened to that. And a big thing is that I get to create my own schedule with my kids. You know, I have a 3-year-old. She's about to be 4. And then I have a 13-year-old stepson. He's about to be 14. Now, my stepson, he does have some learning disabilities, so he's basically homeschooled. So it helps that I'm here and I can kind of handle that stuff. And when my daughter does start going to actual regular real school, I can be able to just change my schedule on a whim and go pick her up and go do this and go do that. You know, I'm not stuck at work 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday or whatever. I can literally create the schedule that I want. And a lot of that, you can't do that in regular salons. You can't. So that's my biggest reason for choosing home-based grooming over any other option. And for y'all that's been following, you know that I've been interested in mobile dog grooming for a long time. I really have. But then after thinking about the overhead I don't know. I don't think mobile is for me anymore. Like, I really got into it, and I was like, I don't even like driving. Like, my truck is in my driveway, and it's just there for show. I don't know why I even thought on mobile. Like, you know. Oh, and here's one more thing before I go to you, Quincy, is that if I'm at home, that a client no shows or cancels the last second or whatever, or is late, I'm not stuck at the salon twiddling my thumbs. I go right back in the house, turn on Shark Tank. You know? So, I mean, do I get upset? Yes, but at least I'm not inconvenienced by, you know, having to drive from work or whatever. So, that's why I chose home-based grooming over anything else. So, Quincy, off to you.
Okay. So kind of like in my intro, how I said I sort of fell into grooming. I didn't know it was a thing. I also fell into home grooming because the corporate that I worked for, I actually am a corporate groomer who loved corporate. I thrived in it. I loved working with my coworkers. I loved managing and training people. But they moved me to a new store, which I took with a promise I would be paid a certain amount. And I was pregnant with my first, and I wasn't. I realized I was actually making, honestly, like 3 times less than what I was at a store 10 minutes away. And so because of that, I had my daughter, I had her early, and some things happened and they wouldn't give me my pay because I had her 2 days early and didn't hit my 5-year mark with them. So they wouldn't give me benefits. And I had a C-section. Any moms who've out there who've had C-sections and have a baby in the NICU know how fun that is. So on a whim, we decided, well, let's just open in home. Let's just go. And we did it. And honestly, like, I didn't realize at that point, as scary as it was, what a blessing it was and how much I've loved it. I've moved and my clients followed me like 15 minutes further, like didn't think they would. And so for me, I fell into it and I never even thought it'd be an option. I remember going to Super Zoo and seeing the wagon tails and all that. And I'm like, I'm going to go mobile. But the more I think about it, I actually like driving. So I don't want to drive for a living because then, like I said, I live in Utah. I love our mountains. Like, I love being up in them. I would start to hate driving because I'd be driving all day and I don't want to drive in the snow either or deal with a broken unit and not have somebody that I trust that could fix it. And so for me, I was like, this was kind of the best of both worlds. I was able to build a business and also raise my baby, like, where I didn't feel like I was neglecting her or anything like that, and build my business into something that now my kids are both in school. I have 2, I'm not having any more, and they go to school, they get on their bus, I work, I finish before they even get home. I can take them to dance. We get to spend time together. We have weekends together. At corporate, I couldn't do that. I was required. I had to be there on a Saturday. If someone called out as a manager, I was required to come in. So for me, I would never change this. For anyone who's like a parent out there, I will tell you, like, it's funny. People, mine are 10 and 7, and they're like, you will miss out on your kids. I didn't believe it. And I'll be honest. I missed out on some time with my daughter because I got to the point that I overworked myself when I was in home and went to 6 days, and I was doing like 10 to 15 dogs a day, and I burnt myself out. I was just like, this is what I'm going to do to take care of my family. And honestly, now I groom 3 days a week. I get to do what I want with my kids. We go hiking on the weekends, get holidays off, and it honestly is the best thing. Like I promote, like, family is always first, first, whether you have kids or not. Like, that is what I preach with being in home. So it literally was a fluke that I came in home, but a huge blessing in the long run. Like, I'd never change it. I would never probably go to anywhere else.
Love it.
Yeah.
What's up, Mo?
Okay, so since I kind of like spilled it all in the beginning because I didn't know how this was gonna work.
She's going through all the questions.
But there's a lot of things that I skipped. So okay, so I did become a home-based groomer because of my mom going through metastatic breast cancer. But I really wanted to help people. Oh no! Can you hear me now?
We're good.
Okay, and that's another thing, the connection here. Okay, so I, had to teach myself, and that's one of the things that what helped me stay home was my mom, and that's what I really, really enjoyed it, because I could make my own hours to be able to take her to her chemotherapies, and then I didn't have a boss to explain myself or anything like that. So that gave me the opportunity to really be able to research and really put myself out there on Facebook of all people, places is where I started showing look what I did for my mom type of deal. Word got out. People in the town, let's go to her. At first I didn't really charge at all. And, sometimes practicing with your dog. Let me practice with your dog first type of deal. So, and that they started tipping me a big amount. I'm like, whoa, I could really make money on this, can I? So that's where I started really focusing. What I truly enjoy is working with senior dogs, working with the dogs that a lot of people don't like to work with because, they're scared of their heart conditions. They're scared, of how they'll behave, or, if they're, whatever ailment they might have, they're worried about it. But because of my background as a vet tech, I can assess the dog and say, you know what, the dog is not good to be groomed today. Take him to the vet right now. And that's where I come into play as to my skills of being a veterinary technician and being able to help pets even on the table. So that is where my passion continues to grow, and I continue to educate myself. And like I said earlier, the con about it is, if they cancel you at last moment, or if you're sick or what have you. But I always have another business to fall back on, so I never am delayed or stuck in one place either. I have another source of income to be able to fall back on, put more time into that. So it gives you the flexibility of adding more sources of income as well, depending on where you're at, how busy you get, right? And I only work with small breeds. I try not to. I love grooming the standards, even the doodles. To some, but they are high maintenance dogs, and a lot of people don't want the high maintenance at home. I'm like, well, we need to keep them at a low maintenance clip, and I bring out the books. This is what I got. Which one you want? So that's where we're at, and I learn. I keep going back to the books. I keep following people, mentors that you guys. I look at how you scissor. I look at how everything, and I replicate, and I want to be able to expand my skills as I'm going through this too, because what helps me is that I'm an artist as well. So I have that, that artist point of view. So, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I've thought about going into a shop, but my life is too crazy. I got 5 dogs and 4 cats, and it's just nuts. They'll destroy the house if I'm not home.
All right, pass the torch.
So I really found home based to be the best fit for me. So when I first moved back to New Jersey, when I worked for National Tech, I moved my husband and my cats, and we moved down to South Carolina, and we were there for 6 or 7 years. And then now my position for them is remote, so I don't have to be in South Carolina. And we wanted to move back to New Jersey to be closer to family. But we all know that the housing market in South Carolina is very different than the one in New Jersey. And so our dollar didn't go nearly as far. So we knew that we were going to have a higher mortgage coming in when we moved into New Jersey. Really wanted to do cat boarding. Pizza kitty. Because there wasn't any boarding facilities in my area that were just for cats or that had really good cat setups. It was a lot of dog places that just had an empty closet, and they were like, let's throw some condos in there and call it cat boarding. And I didn't want that for my own cats. And so I was like, well, I really want to do cat boarding, but I also want there to be somebody there overnight. And in a lot of facilities, don't have someone overnight. And that's kind of like a dirty secret in the pet boarding industry, that there's usually nobody there overnight unless they specifically say there is. So pet owners tend to not realize that. And that was really important for me, was to be there overnight. I'm a big like emergency plan, disaster, like zombie apocalypse. I got everything listed out. So because I wanted to do cat boarding, cat grooming is just a good natural complement to it. And obviously I was already grooming cats. So it didn't make sense for me to have businesses in 2 different locations. So we looked for a home that we knew that we had the space that I could have a grooming area as well as a large room where I do cat boarding. And so that was kind of how I got started, as far as what was going to be the cost, because I wasn't going to be able to pay my mortgage plus a rent somewhere, because hiring groomers is already very difficult, but hiring cat groomers, when very few people in your area already do it, I knew it was going to be a really uphill battle. And so I wanted to keep it a small business, stay to myself. And to be fair, being home based, there's so many benefits, because I have ADHD. And so I lose track of stuff, or I get really ideas. So I like appointments. I'll go and I'll do stuff. And I got projects. I have a whiteboard next to my blow dryer, so I get ideas and I start jotting them down. So the flexibility is just, you really can't beat it. I don't have to go anywhere. I can groom in my slippers if I really want to, which I think is the best.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the whole. It is hard to find dog groomers now. I didn't think about how hard it is to find cat groomers. That's a really good point, because honestly, in my area, it's probably a handful of cat groomers, and I ain't one of them. So, anyway.
I have a lot of people who want to learn more, and I want them to learn more. It's just, do I want to pay someone when I need help in my business? And so I knew that wasn't, I didn't want a large staff. That wasn't an aspiration of mine. So having the home based allowed me to have an affordable business that didn't add a ton of overhead to what I already had in my mortgage in New Jersey. So it's a great option for me.
Gotcha. Passing the torch, girl.
You guys have been so wholesome. All of your answers are so sweet. Like, I'm home for my kids. I'm home for my mom. You know, I like money, and I like to keep my money in my pocket. I don't want to pay a landlord. I'm cheap as hell, like nickel and diming over here. You know, I pay for good quality products. All of my equipment is, you know, top notch and stuff. But I don't want my money going to anybody else. The government, landlords, no one. Like I said before, I've had 2 storefronts. And for some reason, I felt like owning a storefront would give me some sort of like sense of accomplishment. Like being a home-based groomer just wasn't enough for me, which was so stupid, because at the end of the day, I just ended up piling money into this place that wasn't even mine. Like, I did renos and like rent and all that stuff. And then, like we were saying before, flexibility with children. I was I had to be at the storefront. I had to manage staff to afford my huge overhead. I couldn't just run it on my own. So I was working, 8-10 hour days, 5-6 days a week, burning myself out. It was just crazy. So anyways, I got rid of the storefronts and I moved back into my house, and it was the best decision I ever made. I was working alone for a long time, which was really nice after years of managing staff. And then slowly I brought in my best friend. She's my assistant. We've been working together. We've been at the house now for 5 years. So we've been working together for 5 years. We love it. And then recently I've just brought in 2 more girls that I spent a long time vetting these groomers and making sure we got along, making sure they handled my clients the way I liked, making sure we're very zen and energy around here, making sure our energies matched. And so I'm really happy with the team I have now, but there was no pressure. There was no pressure to ever have anybody here. And if I just wanted to work by myself for the rest of my life, I could have, but I like my team now. So, and I like keeping money to myself, and my girls are paid well because because we're not paying the overhead, and we can all make our own schedules. Life definitely comes before work here now. If any of us just need to take a day off, we're whatever, we'll move the dogs to the next day. It's not a huge deal. So I really like that. That's why I decided to go home base. And then like the rest of us, I have 2 young kids. They are still at the ages where they like me and they want me to be home and they want to be around me. And 5 years from now, they're going to be teenagers and they're going to be they're going to have their own lives. So I'm going to soak up every little ounce of time I can get with them. And it's nice, if they're homesick or I got to go pick them up from school or whatever. Yeah. So that's why I like being home based. And I'm going to cough. So I'm going to mute myself. 1 second.
She went straight to the point. She straight up said, "For the money, fool, the money." That is a good point. The money is always important, because that's why we all work. I'm pretty sure if I would have won that $1 billion lottery just now, I wouldn't be doing this live. I'll probably be done.
There's always next week.
But no, money is very important, and so I'm glad that you were able to actually say that, because a lot of us don't want to really fess up to it, because it is what it is. We like our money. So next question is, what is your favorite thing about home-based grooming? Which we kind of already answered that, but I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit more in detail. So earlier I said that, I got burnt out and I quit the vet clinic and I did another business. Well, here's the burnout part that I'm talking about. The reason why I like home-based grooming so much is because of the low stress. Not just low stress for me, but low stress for the animals. I got burnt out pretty bad. And the reason why I got burnt out is because when I was working at the vet clinic, I was grooming 10, 15 dogs a day. I was there at, 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't leave till 7 o'clock at night. It was just boom, 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 boom. And look, I don't mind grooming that much, or that many dogs, but what I did mind was the fact that there was no personal connection between me and the client. It was is my dog done? Here you go. Thank you. Leave. And I was just well, this sucks. 7 all over, 7 all over, 7 all over, 7 all over, 7 all over. Fine. You don't care? I don't care. But that's why I got burnt out. I hated that. I absolutely hated that. So the reason that my favorite thing about home-based grooming is the fact that it's low stress. I get to build that connection with people. They see me and not just the person that grooms my dog. They know, hey, I'm taking my dog to Frazel the groomer. But when I worked at PetSmart, the vet clinic, half of them didn't even know my name, and my name was on the dang on shirt. So they had no clue who I was. It was just the groomer. And anyways, low stress, and I don't want to get burnt out again. My biggest fear in this industry is getting burnt out, because I love it so much. I do not want to get burnt out. That's That's what a home-based groomer definitely helps with. So that's my quick answer. So passing the torch.
Hey, someone in the comments put this, and I didn't even think about it, but they said you get to listen to your own music, which is true because, like, I do not miss corporate elevator music at all. I'm a big Broadway musical person, and if I'm having an off day, I turn that on, and like my whole mood flips. I didn't even think about that. Like, I love the fact that I can listen to whatever I want and like set my tone. So I love that. But for me, mine is connection. I'm a very outgoing person. I love meeting people and connecting with them. So not only do I love the connections with my clients that I've made over the years, I love because I'm connected to them, it brings a connection with their pet too. And so for me, that's like my favorite thing because as you kind of were saying earlier, like the salons, there's so many dogs, it's loud, barking, all that stuff. I'm one-on-one, so I love the fact that we can just be down there. And if they're having an off day or they're older, I don't feel like I have to rush them through to get the next dog in line done. And so for me, like connection in the one-on-one is amazing. And also, like one of my favorite things is I hate shoes. And I love the fact that I can just hang out in my house. And I am a groomer. I see your face. I groom barefoot. People have seen a video, and I've never had a hair splinter ever. I don't care. I don't care. The joys of being in home, right? It works for me, even though it grosses you out. I see your face.
No, it hurts. I get hair slivers in my toes, and I wear socks and shoes. Man, those hurt.
I never get hair slivers like on my arms. Like I groom. I don't wear your normal like grooming outfit either. Like the grooming, like I don't wear a smock half the time. I'll do an apron. I wear dresses sometimes in the summer. I wear whatever shorts I want. Like I have dedicated grooming clothes, and I never like get hair splinters. So I don't know, but like yeah, that's a joy for me
so
too.
jealous.
If I'm in a mood for like bare feet to feel grounded, I do it. Like it's great.
So jealous.
I
wear
love your face
flip-flops
though when I said that.
most of the time.
What?
I wear flip-flops most of the time, so
Right?
I'm so jealous. I wear the swooshy material. Like when I walk around the shop, I'm like swoosh, swoosh, swoosh because I can't stand a single piece of hair touching me.
Oh, I was so glad to get rid of the swoosh swoosh. Like I groom in jeans and people are like, how do you wear jeans? And I'm like, I love jeans. Like it doesn't stick to my jeans. But I also don't do large dogs. Maybe that helps. Like I like do 2 golden retrievers and an Idaho shag, and that's it. The rest are small.
that does probably help you a lot because I groom in flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt.
Yes.
And that's because I do all sizes, and I'm soaked. So I gotta order me a dang on apron. I gotta remember that. Order an apron.
Yes.
Anyway, let's hear from Mo. What's up?
Hey. Yeah, I do the flip flops too. And in the winter, I wear my clogs with socks. So, it's all about comfort. And that's one thing that I love about home based. And of course, you listen to your own stuff, your own music. You don't have anybody, criticizing what you listen to. But one of the things that I really love the most about being at home base is the time that you can put into your dog. You don't have to be rushing. Like I've seen, when I do go to those big corporate places, I see the dogs are so stressed. And so is the groomer. It's like, dude, you need a break. You can tell. Because they have the window there. You can see it. Their posture, everything. And I absolutely love being able to do that tailored experience for that pet. And like I mentioned earlier, I love working with senior dogs. I love working with dogs that have stress issues. Because I can help them and I know what not to do, especially those buggy-eyed dogs, they already come with eye issues and you got to be able to know what to do with those things. So it is stressful, but you can take your time. You can take and people are always, well, how long is it going to take? I go, it depends on your dog. It depends on your dog. It could be anywhere between 45 minutes to 3 hours. It depends to your dog. I will let you know 20 minutes before they're ready. And that's another thing. I don't keep them here longer than they have to be. They come and pick up. They come and pick up. So that's one thing that they're not locked up all day. And I have had instances where something happens and they have to stay overnight, but they make arrangements, and they're home. They feel at home because it's a quiet place, and I make sure that they get what they need while they're here. So that making that tailored experience for the pet and the owner as well is a really, for me, it's a very good positive experience.
Love it.
Hold on, somebody is trying to call me during the live, of course. Sorry about that. So yes, the tailored experience for the pets. And I don't do cats. I've had lots of people ask me about cats. Well, you're so good with dogs. I'm like, yeah, but I own cats. I know how they are. Trimming their nails is a chore for me on the cats. So it's like yeah. I mean, if I didn't have dogs at home, maybe I would do it because I know how stressed they can be. And I know how easily they are, especially cats that have underlying diseases and stuff. It just the stress can kill them. I mean, you got to be up in your game. You got to be up in your game.
Let me tell you something, Mo. When it comes to cat grooming, I mean, she's about to tell you, it's a whole. There's a reason why a lot of dog groomers don't do cats. It's a whole different game, and I just wouldn't do it unless you're properly. It's not something you can just jump into because I just that's my personal just take on it. I've seen people cut cats, like do the cat hair, and like the skin is extra soft, and I would definitely just pray about it. But hey, plug in. She'll teach you.
Yes, because in the ER, I would see all the cats and all the dogs that come in, and I would have to fix them, be there with the veterinarian fixing all the oopsies because of what the groomer, because they're rushed. They really are. You get rushed.
Well, speaking of cats, girl, tell me, what's your favorite thing about home-based grooming?
Well, before I do, this was something I learned very recently. So one of the things that Mo was saying is that cats can become very stressed, from grooming, and that they can die from stress. And one of the things I was talking to somebody the other day is, well, they don't take cats with heart issues. But the problem is that a lot of times they're undiagnosed. There are no symptoms beforehand. And I actually found a recent study that was saying that it is possible that up to 10 to 15% of the cat population has heart problems. So not to scare anybody else away from grooming cats.
Don't worry, I'm scared. I don't need to worry about cats.
He was already scared. But
you may get direct referrals now.
Yeah, no thanks. So I'm very particular about the cats that I take, but I'm more concerned about my biggest question that I ask an owner when they're calling me about a new cat, and I'm trying to determine can I actually groom them? I'll ask, can all the adults in the home pick the cat up? Because sometimes you have cats that are a one-person cat, and then you have other times when everyone in the household is terrified of that cat. And so that tells me a lot about, can more than one person actually pick? I don't need them to do anything, but can everybody in the household pick the cat up? And when the owner on the other end doesn't say anything, tells me everything I need to know. No, that's probably not a cat I'm going to be attempting anytime soon. But back on topic, my favorite part about being a home-based pet groomer is not having to drive in the snow. I hate driving in weather. I hate getting up early, digging my car out, and not even if I'm doing the walkway, just to get my car out, to get the windshield off, to let it running. I'm miserable. And so I love being able to just roll out of bed. And if somebody can make it and they got 4-wheel drive, no problem, I'll groom your cat. But if they say, oh no, the roads are bad, I unfortunately got to cancel, I'm like, no problem. I'm already in my PJs. I'm going to go back to bed. And so I love not having to drive anywhere. If the weather's getting iffy, I don't have to worry about it. And then honestly, there are some days when if somebody in the middle of the day cancels, I'll just go take a nap in my bed, not on a grooming table or anything, in my. And it's very comfortable, and I really enjoy that. So that it just comes down to the ability and not doing things I don't like. So home base gives me.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. What about you?
All right. So, Frazel, like you said earlier, if you have like the random no-show that doesn't show up, we don't have very many no-shows, but when we do, it's nice to not just be sitting at the salon getting angry. And I'll like run downstairs and throw some laundry on, or go open the fridge and stare at what I got, eat a snack, watch a show. And I've had my girls, same thing, go and take a nap. They're like, I'm sleepy. Can I go watch TV in your living room? I'm like, yeah, go. Like, whatever. And then, I like being home for my kids in the summer and flexible schedule. And I'd say my number one thing that I like the most is being super selective of our clients, because clients are the one thing that burn me out. Not the dogs, but the humans. Humans burn me out faster than anything else in this job. So I am so picky. Like if a client even throws me the littlest bit of shade, I'm like, oops, block your number. Like, good luck finding another groomer, because I just don't need that. And we don't need that. Like,
I don't feel alone anymore.
What's that?
You got to be careful because they know where you live, though.
That's a big problem too, right? And that's going to go into my least favorite part about working from home.
Yep, mine too.
Yeah. But we are super picky about the humans that we take on here. But honestly, we've been so lucky. 99.9% of the people that we've had come here are very respectful, very sweet, very appreciative of us. So, and then like you guys were saying as well, like listening to music, all of us have the same Bluetooth headphones, and we're all listening to like different music, a true crime documentary, whatever. You just get in that nice little zone, and it's you and the dog, and you can really enjoy your day. And then every now and then we peek in and we're like, what are you listening to? Well, what are you listening to? And so I really like that, because I know corporate, you can't listen to music while you're working, which is just like, what are you just listening to the dryer all day and dogs barking? Like, no thanks.
Yeah. Like if you ever call PetSmart and like they put you on hold, that music in the background, I know that song is, and that's what plays. But my favorite time at corporate was Christmas time, because at least they play Christmas music, and I love Christmas music. But other than that, it's that stupid on the hold elevator music.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
That's terrible.
Speaking of the worst, here comes to our final question. And that's obviously, we already did our favorite thing about home-based grooming. Now, here comes our least favorite thing about home-based grooming. And I'm pretty sure we all have about the same thing when it comes to this. My biggest thing that I don't like about home-based grooming, and this is probably the only con, really. Actually, I think there's two cons. I'm going to say personal space. When I say personal space, that means they know where you live. Mm-hmm. It can be a safety issue. Mm-hmm. So you have to protect yourself at all ways possible. However you feel comfortable protecting yourself, that's on you. Cameras in your salon, cameras in your driveway, cameras in everywhere. I mean, it's 2023 now. Yeah, I mean, you should have cameras everywhere, and they're really not that expensive. So personal space is a huge one. Like if you piss off the wrong customer, they could come back and act, I got to say, okay, I don't want our live to get banned, but if you piss off the wrong customer, they can come back and do something bad. Mm-hmm. And so I don't like that. So it's very important to make sure you vet a client before you even see them for the first time. Get a good vibe. You can get a good vibe from somebody or a bad vibe through text message. It's not that hard, and I do it all the time. If I don't get a good vibe from you, I just, like the first thing I do, because I do my entire business through text messaging for the most part, and I check every single client. I check their Facebook profile, every single one of them. I go through their pictures, I go see where they work at, and all that stuff. Not to be a creeper, to make sure, one, that they're legit. That's a big one. So they're not wasting my time. And two, that they're not crazy. Yeah. There's a lot of crazies out there. And then here's my other con. I'm just going to say this part is being home-based is really hard. At least it's hard for me, or it seems like it, that people don't take us seriously. until they meet us or they meet our business. What I mean by that is when I first started home based grooming, I was in my garage. I had a crappy table, a crappy dryer, a crappy light. I had daddy long legs crawling on the ceiling. I had no AC, no heat. Like, it was horrible. I had no front door. So when the customer came in, I literally had to open up my garage door and they walked in and it was like, my car's parked over here and here's my garage and there's my laundry room, by the way. So yeah, and it's hard. That first impression is everything. But now that I have my add-on that I built and everything, people take me a lot more seriously. I got my policies and procedures, which we're not going to discuss that on this live. We can do the next one, but I got my policies and procedures that I send to every single client, when they book the appointment, and I do an automated text that tells them your appointment is at this day, this time, here's their address, and I get a lot of folks, most people are like, oh wow, he's taking this seriously, so I'm gonna take him seriously, and that helps my no shows and late cancels and all that stuff. Or I get the flip side of that coin, where they don't come in at all, or they say, never mind, that's too much stuff for me. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't. I don't. When it comes to a home-based business, like, what they don't realize is they're auditioning for me the same way I'm auditioning for them. They need me and I need them. But if I don't like them, then bye. I have to like you. Because I don't know how you guys do your business, but I let people stay and watch. And the reason why I do that, because it allows a lot of transparency. And I do a lot of live grooming. And like I said, I let people stay and watch. And that way people can, like, build a trust with me. But the thing is, if I let you stay and watch and I don't like you and you don't like me and there's no common ground, I'm just sitting there grooming your dog for an hour, 2 hours, and we're not even talking. It's weird. That doesn't mean I don't like you as a person. It's just, we have to be.
There's no vibe, right?
Yeah. Right. There's no vibe. So.
The energy.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's probably my least favorite thing. Personal space and clients. I want them to. It's hard for them to take my business serious. But hey, it is what it is. So, what about you, Quincy?
Mine's a little different. I actually started out, luckily, because I had moved in home. Like, a lot of my clients, small town, were able to find me on social media and came to me, and so mine was all referred out, and I had my salon like ready to go. So, like, for me, that was like great out the door. I had everything for me in place pretty quick. So for me, mine might be a little bit different. Well, all of ours are kind of different anyway. For me, the thing that's worst is I don't like being by myself sometimes. I don't think people like, I don't want to bring another groomer into my home because mine is inside my house. So in both of my houses I've had, it's been in my basement. So they come to my front door, get checked in at my front door. I do not let clients stay because of insurance reasons. They come to my check-in, they give me the dog. I'm willing to go live if they need me to go live. But they don't get to come in my shop. So all they see is through social media. So I'm a big social media freak. I preach that you should be showing who you are, what your inside of your salon looks like, because that does that connection. But for me, it's sometimes I get, like, even though I said I love the connection that I make with my clients, like, I don't get to talk to them, drop off, pick up, right? So I'm by myself. My kids are at school. So sometimes I'm down there and I'm like, man, I miss people. So for me, like, it gets lonely. I have groomer friends here in Utah that I'll like call them. I'm like, I'm so bored, like, or I'm stressed out today. And even that, like, phone call, like, isn't enough, like, human connection for me. So if you're a more like social person, like, no, like, get out sometimes, like, go do something else. One of my friends needed some help up at her salon as one of her groomers left. And since I work 3 days a week, I went up there and I didn't realize like how much I actually truly missed working with other people. But I will still say I would never change it. I would never change it. I don't want a groomer in my home. Even if it was my cousin who's a groomer, no way. I love it. But there are days that I'm like, I need that connection of not just a client. So that's like my negative of being in home for me personally. So Yeah.
I get that.
Wow. Yeah. Well, with me, it's like the whole doing it by myself thing, and being my own receptionist and messing up my own schedules. And, like I said on one of our chats, it's like I would fire myself as a receptionist because it's like, that's why you have your agenda, Mo. How can you mess it up? But the negative or the bad side that I really, because we do create that special bond with the pets, and I personally work with a lot of seniors, it's when they pass, going through that hurt. I mean, because they become part of part of me, part of my energy. So I really feel when they do pass on, and I even feel it more so because as the vet tech in me, I'm like, okay, your dog is leaning towards this. I really need for you to go to the vet now. I don't want to have to break it down, but my biggest fear is there. So it's like they come and get them, and sure enough, they have to let them go. And it's heartbreaking. And then losing that connection with the owner as well. And but at the same time, that's a good thing because you might be there to be able to comprehend their pain. That nobody else can. And that's one of the things that I really feel, aside the people that refuse to comb their long-haired dogs. But yeah, it's the whole being alone and managing, I guess, really managing your time, because there's home, and sometimes home brings problems, while you're grooming on the table. Oh, and the other thing is, I even put a sign out in the gate. Don't knock on the door. Text me. But they still knock on the door. It just riles everybody up. We don't even have a doorbell. But it's like, oh, I didn't know that it applied to me. I get that answer. I'm like, no, everybody. I work from home. Text or call, please.
That's the personal space issue that I was talking about. Because people live.
Yes, and that
doesn't apply to me. Of course, what else you do? But this is also another reason why I have a totally separate business for my salon, and that's been a huge blessing. So if y'all are thinking about starting a home-based business, or you already have a home-based grooming salon or whatever, having a separate entrance, I feel like, is a game changer. So, but what do you think, Lynn?
Well, I totally agree with you on the separate entrance. Like I'm about to start a big renovation of my grooming area. We're adding a floor above it. And one of the things we're putting in is a separate entrance. And I cannot wait. I am so excited. There's kind of two things. One is a little more minor, but it was what you were mentioning, where people don't always take a home-based business very seriously. And part of what I usually do is all my marketing, my website, my social media, everything like that does not say that I'm a home-based business. It basically assumes that I'm just this business, and that most clients don't find out it's my home until they show up. And I did have one gentleman who did not like that, and I did not groom his cat. He pulled up and he's like, this is a house. And I said, yes, it's my house. And he's like, well, I'm not leaving my cat in like somebody's house. I was like, okay. He had a 19-year-old cat that was horribly matted and nobody else would touch. So I was just like, well, I think he didn't like my price, because I quoted pretty high. So I think that it was like that combination. But I was like, well, your only option is going to be go to the vet, unfortunately. But I just was not in the mood of dealing with him. So I was like, okay, no problem. And I just walked back inside. But the biggest issue that I've had with home-based is dealing with my local municipality, my township. You would think, and really in the ordinances of my township, home-based businesses are permitted. There's a few restrictions as far as like the hours, and like there's certain types of businesses that you can't have in a residential area, but grooming and boarding should have been perfectly fine. But my township only has a few people who pretty much make those decisions. And one of them decided that he did not think my business qualified for the conditional use permits. So he actually made me go and get a use variance, which is much more expensive. And my husband is luckily an attorney, or else I would have had to hire an attorney, which is also very expensive, in order to have a handful of cats stay overnight at my business and to groom cats in my garage area. And now that I'm doing the renovation, it's like a whole nother problem trying to submit permits because it's the same guy. And he's like, well, your use variance doesn't say that you can use the whole garage. It can only use a portion of the garage. And I'm like, what do you think I'm doing in there? Like, they think I'm using the back half of a 2-car garage and nothing is happening in the front half. And I'm like, no, because they didn't want me to have the entrance. So it's a whole thing. So I would say some areas there's very little problems. It's very smooth sailing for a lot of people, but others, some townships, some municipalities do not permit certain businesses. Like right down the street from me in the next township, they don't permit hairstylists, nail technicians, barbers, things like that. So personal services cannot be a home-based business. So if I was in that township, most likely I'd be lumped in with that category, and it just makes a whole big mess. So definitely, even before you buy a house, if you think that you want to have something home-based, check the ordinances, go to the land use office and see how receptive they are, because sometimes it's just one person that can give you a really hard time. So when I got my use variance, the board was wonderful. Most of the other departments I've dealt with have been great. And most of the home businesses in my area, not just grooming related, don't have permits, didn't actually go through the process. So there was only a few businesses that they could even find in the last 15 years since when I was applying that had ever even applied to have a home-based business. Most people just opened and put a shingle out, and unless somebody catches you or reports you, they just kind of did it. So I guess it was kind of shame on me for going through the correct avenues, but I had a lot of hard time. But I'm learning from other small business owners in my area that they also have hard times, even if they're zoned correctly. And it's just, so that's been the toughest part. Not even anything related to my actual business, but it all works.
I want to feed off of that for just a second for everybody that's watching. Like you really said, really important thing. You said, you know, whenever before y'all start a home-based business, check with your city and stuff like that. Yes, that's important. But what's even more important, because I promise you, this is way more important, check with your neighbors.
Yeah.
I don't care what rules the city has. The city can say, yes, you can do this, yes, you can do that. But if all your neighbors band together and they can't stand you, you're doing too much noise or too much this, they can write a petition and they can get you shut down. So before you even go to the city, knock, knock, knock. Hi, I'm your neighbor. This is what I plan on doing. I'm gonna do it this hours and that hours either. And this is why a lot of home-based groomers are one-on-one, because a lot of the city stuff you can't have. They worry about increased traffic. So if you are doing one-on-one, you're only having one car in the driveway at a time. It's not any increased traffic.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're trying to run it like a regular salon with dogs all day long, that's bad juju. So just to feed a little bit off of that, check with your neighbors. That's the important part. But
I made like a flyer that explained what I did, what a day would look like. Like I basically broke down what would happen in the salon, how noisy would it be, like all those things. And I left them for all my neighbors in my area before I ever applied. And then I left my phone number and I was like, call me if you have any questions, which told me very quickly who was going to give me issues. Yeah. Because the people who are going to give you issues, they're going to call you right away. And I really only had one person. But even then, once I talked to him, he was like really cool with it. But then when I did my use variance, I had to send a certified letter to every property that was like within 200 feet of my property. So it was like 25 houses, 25 places. And they all got invited to come to my hearing. And then I also had to put it in the paper that I was having this hearing. Nobody showed up. Like nobody goes.
Of course.
You could put it in one of two newspapers, and I put it in the one that nobody reads.
Who reads a newspaper anyways?
That's what I'm saying. But it is, but the what's interesting, and I'm sure we could talk about it another time, but when I had my meeting with the zoning board, those are public meetings. And I would highly recommend going to a meeting and listening to other applications before you ever apply. Because then you can kind of see like what type of questions are they asking? What do they like to see? What, variances are they giving? And it was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
All right. All right, girl, your turn.
Ready?
Yeah.
Lynn, that was all really good information because before I started a home-based business, I had no idea. With my storefronts, I needed all these permits and like blah, 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 blah. And when I went into my house, I was like, well, this is my house. Like, who's going to tell me what to do at my house, But you're right. You get one nosy neighbor that sees a few extra cars drive down the street and they're on the phone with the non-emergency line, And so when I started my home base here, I did phone the city and I had this really awesome lady who basically said, like, keep it quiet, be on good terms with your neighbors and maybe offer a cheap dog grooming for some of them and whatever. And I have certain rules. I can only use a quarter of my living space. It can't be any larger than that. We cannot use an outbuilding. So and then a garage is an outbuilding. We can't work out of a garage. I'm only allowed to have 3 dogs in the house at a time getting their haircut. So there's 3 groomers here. So we all have 1 dog at a time. But if one even like overlaps with another one and a city worker comes in, we can be fined for having more than 3 clients here at a time. So that's a little tricky. But yeah, other than that, we're pretty good to work from home. But and the city right beside me that shares like a property line, it's completely illegal to work from home there. But you cross that line over to my city and you can work from home. It's ridiculous. And my other like least favorite part of working from home is definitely the privacy. I have security cameras everywhere, especially with like being like a little more well-known on social media as well as working from home. I'm terrified. Like I got cameras all around my house. You will not find my salon address online at all. Because like Frazel, I will go and vet people. I will look at them on Facebook and make sure they're a real person, make sure I see pictures of their dogs, and then I will give them my address. But I mean, with my storefronts, I pretty much brought all of those clients to my house. So I picked and chose who I wanted to come here and who I wanted to keep. So I was pretty lucky that way. But yeah, I mean, this is your home. This is where you live. This is where you're raising your children. And essentially you're inviting strangers to come into your house. So that is my number one downfall of working from home.
I totally understand all that. I get it. It's a rough battle, but we all love what we do. And I feel like since COVID happened, home-based grooming or one-on-one grooming period is taking it by storm. And I'm not just talking about here in the United States on this. I guess you're in Canada, but yeah. I'm not just talking over here. But I see groomers in the UK one-on-one, Australia one-on-one, Russia all one-on-one. Like I'm just like, man, it seemed like it's changed a lot, and it's like I think people are they spend so much time with their pets during COVID that now they're like, I want my dog to stay clean all the time. Like I work from home, so I want my dog to. They don't want their dog to be stuck 6 hours or whatever away from them. Yeah. So, just to let y'all know, we are in our Q&A portion. Those are our 3 questions we wanted to go ahead and answer, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the live so far. But we're gonna give it a little bit of time. We'll probably just shoot the shit a little bit, and if y'all got questions. Type them out and we'll answer whatever. If you have specific questions for a specific groomer, be sure to tag that person so we can answer it, accordingly. And thank you for all the likes and the loves and the shares. So let's see. I want to join in. So
Alicia, I have Pro-Fur insurance. I don't know what you guys have in the States, but in Canada, the best insurance company to have for any grooming is Pro-Fur.
There you go.
What are you guys insured through?
I have cash.
What?
I have cash.
You don't have grooming insurance?
Look.
And a good relationship with the vets.
I have cash. That's what I do.
No.
Don't do that.
Like,
whatever
no,
they're
Don't listen to these two.
Hold on. No. Hold on. Okay, so I do have cash, but every time I groom a dog, I take a good portion of that and set it to the side. So there's thousands of dollars set over there in case any accidents happen. I don't recommend doing that, but hey, you have to start from somewhere.
I live in Canada. It snows here 90% of the time, and people slip down my driveway on a daily basis. So if one of those old ladies takes a tumble and busts a hip, I don't have nearly enough cash to cover her suing me for $500,000.
No, I don't. But I tell her asses to stay in their car and I'll come get their dog.
Me too, yeah.
I'll spend the $80 a month to insure.
I'm not perfect. I'm not saying to do it like that.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. And look, I've always ran a upfront and honest social media, and I'm letting y'all know how I do things. Is it right? No, but it's definitely room for improvement.
We all have different ways of doing things.
At least you're being honest. I'll give you that. But I do American Family.
He and I are just looking at each other because here's the thing: like we need to have a special type of insurance for the house, but then we also have a business insurance because it's not just like if a pet gets injured, something like that. But also think about like if a client comes up to your door and slips and falls. Your business is a general liability insurance. And I think a lot of people, and Frezzo, will you do whatever you got to do? But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that a business insurance is relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
Like,
$40 a month.
I think I pay like $60 a month.
Yeah.
For my business, for a nice general liability.
And I'm not incorporated. I don't know if you guys are incorporated. I'm not incorporated. So if somebody wants to come after my business, they're coming after everything I own, right? I don't want to pay to be incorporated. Are you incorporated, Quincy? I just saw your reaction. Are you incorporated?
I am.
So I'm an LLC, but I file as an S Corp.
Okay.
Me too. Yep. And someone just said, do I do my own taxes? And that's a good thing. I actually have a CPA, and they put me as a S Corp, and for that exact reason, So I highly recommend, if you take your business seriously, everyone should be an S Corp because
we don't have that in Canada. If there's anybody in the comments that can tell me, we don't have that. You're either a sole proprietor, a partnership, or a corporation. That's it.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if a corporation is the same thing as an S Corp?
You have to incorporate to be a corporation, and it's like big money, and you pay a lot more taxes, and
it's not the same as our S Corp. It's not.
No.
Okay.
S Corp actually saves us on taxes.
Yeah, well, it's going to be different for each person because we're an LLC and we file as a partnership, but you really have to ask your tax person because typically when you do a corporation, a lot of times it changes how you're paid.
Yep.
So now the business is paying taxes because you're also paying a type of employment tax. But when we do an LLC, instead we do a draw and then we pay taxes, kind of the LLC is a pass through. So we're more of our personal taxes. And so our tax guy actually has his own home-based business. And he previously worked for the state we live in their tax department. So we're pretty confident that he's going to know all the ins and outs of what's going to be the best for us as far as, lowering our tax burden, making sure we have the appropriate number of write-offs and things like that. So it's not usually a one-size-fits-all situation. Because you can have employees as an LLC, you can have employees as an S Corp. So there's a lot of variables, especially here in the United States, because the tax law is constantly changing, constantly a disaster. So
I mean, it's theft anyways, but whatever.
But really quick, let's bring it back because, as we know, two of the states have insurance. So, Lynn, what insurance do you use? I said I use American Family. It's the only one that would cover my home and my business, and it had the Baileys in it. So that's what I'm with right now. But I'd love to hear who you use.
I don't remember because.
Okay.
Do you know?
Hanover.
Well, we have Hanover right now.
Okay.
We're in the process of changing. And I will say, as a home-based business, we did not struggle finding business insurance. We have struggled with companies that would take us on for our homeowners insurance. Even if I was trying to get the same company to do both, we've been given a lot of issues. And so we've kind of had to call around and get a lot of quotes. And we ended up using a broker instead. In order to get our homeowners association. But so for right now, we use Hanover. However, Hanover is going to be doing away with their pet care coverage, and which is really, but it's just part of the business game,
right?
So we're going to be switching to somebody else. I think sometime next year. Because
See, really my original insurance kicked me off as soon as they found out I was grooming. They're like, we won't cover you. It didn't matter that I had been with them. And I'm like, my car was with them. My house was with them. I had been with them since I was 16. I'm like, are you kidding me? And they're like, sorry, we just won't cover it. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Same with us. We had so much trouble finding an insurance company to cover our house because there was a business being ran out of it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, I had the same companies that were denying us for homeowners insurance were more than happy to do my business insurance on the home-based business, but they wouldn't do homeowners.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to get you guys, like, can you call the other department? Because it's like, it's very strange. There's been a shift.
I'm actually already in the process of getting a new homeowners insurance, or at least go shop around. So I guess this would be a perfect time for me to just wrap it all up into one and get all things, legit.
Yeah, and there's a lot to insurance because there's a lot of things that you can have. Quincy had mentioned having an animal Bailey clause. That's typically the clause that if an animal gets injured in your care, that insurance is going to cover it. When typically general liability, like for businesses, is more about like the owners, like I said, slip and fall, like kind of along those lines. So you really want to make sure you're talking to an insurance agent that understands the pet industry to make sure that you're getting the right thing. Because if you're getting this general liability insurance, but it doesn't have an animal Bailey, and you try to make a claim because the dog tore their, something, and now they have several surgeries and a long recovery down the road to have, you might not be covered at all. And so you definitely.
So basically, you need two different types.
No, it's just when you go in to get your insurance policy, there's a lot of different things that you can talk to them about. Like you can raise your, coverage for different things. You can add things. So that's just something you want to make sure you're aware of, that your coverage is covering what you expect it to.
Yeah.
Hey,
I had a girl here who she got screwed over.
Sorry, Quincy, what were you saying?
There was a girl here that they told her that it would cover. She flat out told them. She's actually been in the live popping in and on and off, but they told her it would cover her grooming business, and come to find out, she had a dog that it was a low table down and it jumped, but it hit wrong and it jacked up its leg, and she took it in and tried to use her insurance, and sure enough, they're like, oh, we don't cover that. And she blasted our groomer group. She's like, guess what, you guys? Have you checked this? And then all these other groomers are like, oh my God, that's who I'm with. And they all started calling and found out. They're like, I've been grooming this whole time thinking the pets in my care are covered, and they weren't. So all the Utah groomers were like, okay, who are you all using? Let's fix it. And making sure even new groomers are like, did you get Bailey's coverage? What do you have? It's insane. So she paid that whole freaking bill out of pocket, and it was not a nice bill. That is for sure. And it was nothing she did wrong. I mean, the dog was perfect length to step. It just stepped wrong and somehow sprained it.
That's so awesome. You guys all have each other's backs. Quincy.
Yeah.
You're all like, look, this happened to me. I don't want it to happen to you. Here's a heads up. I love that our industry is changing so much that, when I first started grooming, the girl I started to work for was it was cat fight down the street with the other groomer. It was like, don't let that girl take our clients. Don't let that girl in our shop. Don't tell her our tricks and secrets. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We're cutting dog hair. We can be friends.
Right? A freaking men to that. Like,
Yeah. Yes,
I don't
be
know.
kind.
I get told that we're a rarity in Utah because we do for years, like at least for the last 12 years that I've been in that group, we do Utah groomer dinners. We've gone hiking.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have the association starting here, like we do free hangouts for our members and stuff. Like I literally moved about a year ago and there's a groomer a street over from me who's been grooming for like 3 years. Didn't know she was here. She's not listed anywhere. And I'm like, I'm not a threat. I'm not taking new clients. Like I was so worried she was going to think like, oh, this girl is in my territory. And I ended up sending her so many clients that she's not even taking new clients anymore. Like there's so many dogs for all of us that like, if we want, like kind of how you said earlier, like you want people to take you serious because you're in your home. Like if we're not connecting to all the groomers, storefronts, mobiles, all of that stuff, how are we supposed to elevate our industry if we're not taking care of the people in our industry instead of being like this? You know? Yeah. So I agree. I love that it's getting so much better.
Yeah, I think
so
more
Amy the groomer
around.
Wait, say that one more time.
Said that, she says, "Why are we? What motivated us to take our business on social media like this? What made it? What motivated us to do that? I think that's what her question was.
Where is it?
She said it earlier.
Yeah, she said, "What motivated you to go onto social media?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What inspired you to put yourself out there on social media?
For me, I wanted to. My mom said one of two things. My mom said when I was younger, my mouth was either going to get me in trouble or take me far. So I guess a little bit of both. But no, seriously, like since I'm one-on-one in home base, I don't get to really talk to a whole lot of people unless either one, the clients stay and watch, or two, I blab all over on social media. And so I figured I put myself out there, and I mean that's kind of why I started doing it. I don't know about y'all, but that's kind of why I put myself on social media, and I wanted to be transparent. I wanted people to see everything. Y'all see, I'm extremely honest. I just put myself out there like that, but obviously I got some shit I got to figure out. But still, like I like the transparency. I like to connect with groomers, and for the most important thing, I'm tired of the negativity in our industry, and I want to change that. Just because people do things different doesn't mean it's totally wrong. You know, grooming wise, and I want to support each other. We need to stop hating so much, and so that's why that's why you always see me wear shirts like this and try to motivate people. So
you can learn something from anybody. Doesn't matter how long they've been grooming. You can. I've had girls come in here. I'm a certifier for our certification board in Canada. So I spend the weekends going to other shops and teaching and testing and certifying groomers. And I've had girls walk in with a year experience and I'll say like, oh, do it this way. And they're like, why don't you do it this way? And I'm like, why don't I do it that way? I should be doing it that way. Like, blows my mind. So you can learn something from anybody.
Yeah. I had someone on my live the other day. I was bathing the dog, and I was rinsing them, and the dog like kept flipping out the second that the water hit him. And I don't know why I didn't think this, but someone commented, they said if you start the water on the back end, it typically calms the dog down before you get to like the neck and the head area. I'm like, that makes so much sense. Why didn't I? And so I've been really forcing myself to do that. So when I bathe dogs, I start from the butt end and I work my way up to the head, and it does, it works. So yeah, you can learn from anybody. I mean, yeah. So that's why I like.
Somebody put this comment and they said not all groomers have that attitude though, and they can learn that they can learn from everyone, and it's sad. And guess what? That's fine, but like if you guys just continue to do you and like lead by example, like eventually it's like a little trickle, right? Like you're gonna start going from one person, they're gonna see it, and then they're gonna start having like FOMO and wondering why like everybody else is in this group and why they're not a part of it. Like hopefully it will make it to where their mindset flips, and if it's not, that's on them, and that sucks that they're not open to it. Like that's one thing too that stinks about being at home, right? Like by myself, like I loved when new groomers would come in the shop because I learned stuff from groomers who had just like come out of school or academy that I'm like, what? Like, where'd you learn that? And they're like, oh, my instructor. I would have never known, right? So who cares if that's how they are? Like, you do you, and you keep like learning and growing from everyone, and it will be so worth it in the end.
I saw somebody else comment that was asking that they were afraid to put themselves out there to try and meet other groomers. I will say that my groomer bestie is someone that I randomly messaged, and I was like, hey, I think you're really cool, and I think we should be friends.
Is that seriously how you guys met? It's Kelsey, yeah?
Yes, that is how Kelsey. Yes, I was so weirded out. I'm like, she's going to think I'm this crazy person. But I would watch her post, and she was just so nice to everybody. And I reached out to her, and I'm like, I just am obsessed with you.
Is that Kelsey Ann Sexton?
It's Kelsey Ann Saxton, and she's
Saxton.
the
Okay.
queen ever. And I love
She's
that.
so adorable.
I just assumed you guys were near each other or something.
Yeah, no, not at all. She's in like Tennessee.
I love that.
So, and I will say it was something you said earlier about like people were talking about like having like a WhatsApp chat and like spending time with other people, like to get like that fix since we work by ourselves. And she and I voice chat a lot.
I love that.
Started doing it with other people, and that helps to really kind of give that like sense that you're actually having a conversation, because it's not just like texting, it's like having a little like, and sometimes we hear blow dryers in the background, or
but we get it, right? Because we're all in that same industry.
And
so who cares?
I will say that even like industry leaders that I had no prior connection to, like I have reached out to like Chris Berry, and I was like, this was like years ago, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be at All American. Any chance you'd be available for like a cup of coffee? And she said yes. And like we had a great conversation, and we became like a good bit of friends. And I was just like, this is crazy. But let me tell you, if you watch someone else on social media and you're like, wow, like they seem really nice, they're really helpful, things like that, I guarantee you they'll probably respond back to you if you message them. Like if you're embarrassed about like trying to be in a full group, doing something one-on-one. And I try to respond, when people send me messages. I will say sometimes they go to spam, and then I don't see them for a while, and I apologize for the spam messages. Yes. But a lot of groomers are really great, especially the ones that put themselves out there on social media.
People don't understand how hard it is to put yourself out there on social media. Like, we're literally exposing everything about ourselves. Our entire personal lives is out there. Yep. And so, like, a lot of times when I go live and I get negative comments, I'm just like, do y'all realize how hard it is for me to just start a live? Like, to be on camera. We've been doing this for an hour and a half now, and we're just exposing everything. But there's a lot of groomers and other industries too, where they just kind of go off in a little corner and do their thing, and no one ever knows what's going on. And I don't know. I like to show everyone like the whole spectrum of what we do, and I think that's a huge plus right there. But it definitely can have its drawbacks too.
Yeah, I think also just being open, because like for instance, the reason I am on this live is because there was a post on Pet Pro Groomer Network saying who's on TikTok who can go live and is a home-based groomer. And so I messaged and I said, this is who I am. This is like how I run my business. If you want me, great. Like, I think being like open to like things on social media, kind of like Lynn was saying, like, don't be afraid. Like, there are so many groomers who are like, you see, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're amazing and all that stuff. And you're like, I could never, but you could. You absolutely freaking could. Like, yep. Lynn and I, actually, when I saw all of us in this group, I have had the pleasure of meeting Lynn, and she is someone I reached out to when I was in a really hard spot, and she was willing enough to go on to a like chat with me and a buddy of ours, and we had like a really good heart-to-heart, which like I would have like, there was a thing that led me there, but like being open to the reasons why you're there, like if someone shuts you down, then they shut you down, and you just say, okay, like they don't have that energy to give to me, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't keep trying. Like some of like my favorite grooming friends don't even live here in Utah, and I hate it because I want to see them, but they live like in all these other places, and I've just met them off Instagram, and like I'll just tell them like, oh, your groom is great, or like, where did you get those bandanas, stuff like that, because I truly want to know. And then you just start making those little connections, and it's really amazing. Like this community, like I cannot wait for trade shows to start up and like get to see the people who I don't get to see, and just like Kelsey is one of them. Like that girl, a hug from her makes my day. Tristan the groomer, if you guys are on Instagram, the nicest guy. He will literally give you the shirt off of his back, and he can tell like if your day is off, he'll come and hug you at the shows. Like you miss out so much if you don't put yourself out there. So I know it's hard sometimes, but just know if you try, what's the worst case? They say no, or
No.
they like now become your best friend, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm friends with Lynn, the amazing cat groomer. Like I can be like, I know her.
Well, and honestly, that is how I got the job for National Cat Groomers. Was I put myself out there, and it wasn't like publicly. I messaged when I went to cat grooming school. You know, I was a student like everybody else. And I went to Danielle one day in her office, and I was like, I really want to do this. Like, I will move from New Jersey to South Carolina. Are you hiring? And she had me fill out a little application. She's like, oh, you know, anybody who's interested, I have them fill this out. And then, you know, when we look to hire, we'll pull it out. And so I'm like, so that's a no. Got it. And then even in my essay for my certification, I wrote that I wanted to work for them. And like months later, she was doing a webinar, and she was talking about expanding. And I private messaged her, and I was like, if you're ever hiring, like, and the next day she called me and we talked, and she offered me a job. And that's how I got to work for, I mean, it's me and her. That's who works for National Cat Groomers.
I love that.
10 years.
I love meeting new people on the social media stuff. Like I met like Reggie Scissorhand. Okay, I met him through social media, and you know we chit chat all the time, but we didn't meet each other until the Pet Expo in Dallas in September, and that was freaking awesome. Like that was my first expo, and I got to meet my TikTok friend Reggie Scissorhands. So it was really, really cool. I mean, I also got a lot of Oklahoma groomers that a lot of them went down there, you know, because we all kind of chit chat too. But yeah, I just like meeting the new people, and I feel like what we're doing, y'all, is changing. It's changing the industry. Like you said, it's a trickle down effect. Like all of our positivity is really starting to spread. It's a little bit, but I feel like it's working. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but I feel like we're doing something and we're going the right direction. So
well, that's why I decided to join, because I wanted to, you know, learn from all of you guys, because I'm always about learning, and what I learn I want to share with other people, and that's why I get on the social media, whether it be about my personal life. Actually, with my mom's cancer battle, a lot of my clients helped, you know, for whatever funds, you know, especially when she passed away. You know, you create those bonds, and just sharing and being humble and being yourself, you know, not being anybody else but yourself. And those relationships truly grow. And I mean, you're a person, and you really care for their pets, and you show it, and they know it, and then they return that favor as well. So I just want to keep growing, and that's why I came up here to learn from you all, you guys.
So we have a question. They said, how do you get over bad customers bashing you on social media? Who wants to take this one?
I'm happy to, because as I've gotten a little more attention on social media, I definitely am terrified to read through my comments on Facebook and YouTube, especially. And I hate to say you got to get a thicker skin, but in a way you have to get a little bit of a thicker skin. Be confident in yourself, knowing that you're giving your clients the best parts of you, and you're giving them the best service possible. And, you know, and then just ignoring it. Because if you start fighting back and start fueling that negative fire, it just breeds more negativity into it. It brings more people into it, and then it just kind of erupts. But if you address it and you ignore it and you move on, within a week, it all blows over. Everybody forgets about it. People will literally forget about it completely and show up at your business the next week to book an appointment and have no idea that they were just fighting with you online a week ago. Like, That's how I feel. I just ignore it all now.
So, in light of Martin Luther King weekend, one of his quotes that he said is, the only way to drive out darkness is with light. So you can't drive out darkness with more darkness. So
Yeah.
kill them with kindness. That's the only thing you can really do. You can't, if someone says, "Oh, I hate your business," da 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 da, you can't say, "Oh, I hate you too," because then it's just going to get worse.
I like to come back at them with a joke. You know, I had like one guy comment, and he was like, "Oh, this girl's so stupid. Remind me to never take my dog to her." So a week later, I went back and found it, and I was like, "Here's your reminder to never come see me." You know, like, so I try to like make people will read it and laugh. I like to make people laugh. So
yeah,
that works too.
You respond as if. So basically, it's almost like you play dumb a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's because when you read something, especially like a message in text form, you know, a lot of times we miss the cues of, you know, what their intonation really is. And so a lot of times I will almost be like, there's no possible way that they mean this in a mean way. So I'm going to respond as if it's meant in a nice way. Like, oh, thank you so much. I really do enjoy doing this, you know, like stuff like that, which they can't respond back to it then because you're not goading them on to be, you know, to reach their level of being just rude. I will also say that even though, like, you know, when you put yourself out on social media, kind of what you're saying about having a thick skin, that's absolutely true because people say some really rude stuff randomly.
And it's got nothing to do with you. It's just,
it's nothing.
They're just miserable people.
Yep. But we tend to.
Yeah, but it's a reflection of them, not you.
Yeah.
We do tend to internalize it a lot. You know, people can say nice things all day long, and then that one person nasty, and it's like you think about it and you dwell on it. What I started doing to kind of help my mental health in that way, because, you know, I'm sure you guys all know, like the bigger you get on social media and the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to get those negative comments.
Yeah.
I have something on my desktop called a smile file. And when people leave me nice comments or really lovely reviews, or a client has sent me something, I save it in my smile file. And so when I have a tough day, I can go back in and see, like, these are actually the people who care about me, not this like Joe Schmo on the internet who probably just had a terrible day and is, you know, is taking it out on me.
And it's probably a fake troll account anyways. That's literally just a miserable person finding videos and leaving crappy comments because that's what they do for fun.
That's what they do.
Yep.
So definitely smile file, because trust me, you have way more people in your corner and who care about you and love you and want you to succeed than any of those negative haters who just probably, most likely it comes from a place of jealousy.
Yes.
True.
I think always.
So I just got to thinking about something, y'all. It's a little off topic. I was wondering, I'm like, man, how come we don't have more people watching this? Y'all know what day it is today? It's Saturday. The playoffs are tonight.
Oh, yeah.
The football game
We don't do stuff.
I'm not worried about it. I'm happy who's here.
I am too. I got to think, I'm like, where's everybody at?
I'm really happy.
They all missed out on this, so it sucks for them.
I'd love to do this again, though. This was like, I had a great time. This is how I want to spend my Saturday night. So
there is a person they talked about pricing. Do y'all want to go over that now, or do you want to go ahead and set another live event where we talk about policies and procedures and stuff?
I think pricing could probably be its own.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I did.
We actually went over almost an whole hour almost.
Yeah.
So
good question. That might be a good wrap up what we're doing. And do we have any advice for a new business owner?
Look at what I was thinking.
Sorry, what was the question? I was reading the comments.
Yeah, I was reading a comment. Did you say, what advice would I give to a new business owner?
Yes, that was one.
It
was a while back, yourself. And I was like, well, I'm going to save that one.
Do not undercut the business down the street. Have your prices exactly the same, $5 higher, because all you're going to get is the little Kijiji penny pinching once-a-year dogs that aren't going to tip you. They're not going to appreciate you. They're not going to pre-book. The dog's not going to get used to coming to you because they're a shop hopper that just goes to the cheapest place they can find. You want to get good, loyal clients. You don't want to underprice yourself, because trying to raise your prices from the bottom of the barrel is
It's hard.
Horrible. It's so hard.
Harder to raise your prices than to start off being where they should be.
Yes. Absolutely.
I will give a little bit of pricing advice, and I tell this to people all the time. When you're a home-based groomer, we're one-on-one. So one-on-one, in my personal opinion, is a premium service.
The luxury.
So if you're trying to set your price a certain place, think about it like this. You have salon, which is shop. Okay, they're typically the cheapest. Home base, and then mobile. Yeah. So I try to put my price somewhere in between a shop and a mobile. I want to be about $10 higher or so than a regular shop, but also I want to be quite a bit lower than a mobile. That's kind of a lot of home-based groomers think, oh, well, I'm home-based, my expenses aren't high, so I shouldn't charge this much. The fuck you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at us because we figured out a business plan that saves us money. We typically do less dogs because it's one-on-one, which is a premium service.
So that's an express groom at the shops down the street from me, and they charge $30 to $40 more for an express groom. Whereas that's just what I do. So
I will say,
and I guess what I would say is start up a cancellation policy, because that's what I'm having trouble with, when people just all of a sudden cancel on you and they don't give you notice. I'm like, dude, it's like I had planned this amount of time and I can't call somebody to take your place right now. So it's like, okay, well, go do something else. But, it hurts. It hurts the pocket. And make sure you ask people around you, be friends with somebody and start those policies, because they're going to help you in the long run.
All right. Well, we're going to do another live, I guess, we'll get together and
wait.
Answer my own
one more. Sorry. Sorry.
All I was going to say is it kind of combines the two of them. I don't think groomers niche down enough. You need to figure out what your special sauce is for your business, because if you do not, and then not only do you need to figure that out, but you need to promote that to potential clients so it is very clear. Because if someone is looking for a new groomer and they go to your social media, your website, they call you on the phone and they're trying to think about, well, do I want to go to this person or do I want to go to somebody else? If you don't give them the reason why they should go to you, the only thing they're going to be able to look at is price difference, because that's the only thing you're telling them is different. So you need to figure out really what is the difference and what makes you special. Like, why should someone come to you? Because yes, I'm a cat exclusive groomer. Obviously that makes me stand out over all the salons in my area. But not only that, I specialize in a very specific type of cat and type of client. Does that mean that 100% of my clients fit that mold? No, but the vast majority do. And that's what makes me happy. That makes it so that I can charge a premium price and I can limit the clients that don't fit the demographic, don't fit the mold of what I enjoy working with, which means that my policies get followed much more easily because the clients become a raving fan of yours and they're super loyal at that point, instead of like, oh yes, they're the most convenient because they're in my area. No, people want to work with me because I've ticked all these boxes that separate me from anybody else.
I have to say, I agree with that.
Really niche down.
100%. I feel like I set my niche when I opened. And like I said, I moved a year ago. I thought none of my clients would follow me, honestly, because in that 15 minutes, they're passing about 30 other salons, home-based, mobile, and storefronts. I did not lose any of my clients. And then when I increased their prices by 30% this year, I thought I would lose some too. I lost one client. The rest booked. My clients booked for an entire year out, you guys. I require 8 weeks or less. They are like set on certain things. And I honestly was blown away. I was kind of hoping some would drop when I did what I did because it was so insane. But like, honestly, my clients are the best. Like, they really, really are. I, like Lynn said, is finding your people. I have found my people and I'm so blessed that I have.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
It's truly a blessing. And it's been a blessing that all y'all came on this live with me. And I know y'all were just like, man, what does this guy want? But I really
I'm
do.
so excited.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I've learned a lot.
I'm definitely learning. I'm learning, and it's a great idea.
If that could be my one piece of advice to give anybody that's watching, is to never stop learning.
Yeah.
Ever. Don't stop learning about grooming. Don't stop learning about the business. Don't stop learning and just be nice. Just be kind. It's not that hard. Remember, negative is natural, but positive is on purpose. So, yeah.
I like that. Yes, sir.
We're going to do another live coming up, y'all. We'll let y'all know when we're going to do it. And I know someone just asked, is it okay to groom out of an apartment? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. But check with your city. But anyways, if that's all, I guess we can go ahead and end this bad boy. Anybody got anything else to say?
I got tons to say, but we can save it for another time.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, y'all. And as always, deuces.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.